Hi, I'm Dr. Matt Sheehan from Medford Family Chiropractic Center in Medford, Oregon, and I'm here today to demonstrate several different core stability exercises that I utilize in my practice every day with my patients. And they're mostly for the low back and the pelvis. And we're just doing this because some of the details can be a little daunting to understand just from the sheets. So, if you are familiar with my exercises, this is the one we'll be referring to. Some of you will be my patients, and I would have handed you this, and this is to demonstrate how the heck to do it. So, first of all, before I even launch into it, this is to strengthen some of the core stabilizer muscles, essentially, and to help them to learn to function as a functioning unit. And there are some basic things that we always want to do with these core stability exercises before we actually initiate the movement. And one of them, I'll get in a position here and I'll show you. With bird dog, the first exercise, the first thing we want to do is we want to assume a pelvic neutral or neutral spine position where we have a little bit of curve in the small of our back. So you may say, well, that's not much dialing in there. How much curve do we want? A lot or a little or none? So what you want to do is, if you arch your back all the way down, push it to the extreme as far as you can, curving a lot, and then you back it off just a little, that's about right. Good enough, close enough for jazz. Okay, so hold it right there. Then what you want to do is you want to engage your entire abdominal wall. So tighten your abdominals, but at the same time, as you engage and tighten the abdominals, don't flatten the curve out. Keep it in the exact same position and tighten the abdominal wall. Okay, so back to the extreme, back it off a little, and then tighten the abdominals. Then look straight down. You want your knees right under your hips. You want your knees hip width apart. You want your hands right under your shoulder. You want your elbows straight. If you have wrist issues, you can, if you have carpal tunnel or arthritis, you can try coming up on your fists, which will keep your wrists straight. That'll work for some people. Not everybody can do this exercise. If you have bad knees, you may not be able to do it. You may just try, putting more pads under your knees and even under your hands if you need to. So, we're still in this neutral position, and now what we want to do, we've engaged our abdominal wall, so we're stabilizing the pelvis. Now what we want to do is we want to slide, pick one leg and keep your abs tight, and you're going to slide that leg back until the leg is straight. The ankle's still on the table, but the leg is straight. And in this position here, you want to make sure that your pelvis stays level. So we don't want the pelvis to drop this way, to droop, or to shoot high. We want it to stay level. And one way of remembering it is we want to be able to, theoretically, or in real life, if you want to give it a try, put a martini glass on the small of your back and keep it from spilling. So we slide the leg back, the pelvis stays level, and then what we're going to do is we're going to raise the leg till it's straight out. And as we're doing that, we want to, again, keep that level. So some of the ways, again, that we're going to cheat, quote unquote, if our muscles are not strong enough to do that in that manner, is we'll do this. Watch. So I'm going to come back, pelvic neutral, curve, engage my abdominals. I'm going to slide that leg back, looking straight down, slide the leg back, and then as I raise it, I may scoot my pelvis over the support leg, which in this case is my left leg holding the whole pelvis up. So if my butt muscles are too weak, I'll slide over, and that makes it easier. Or I may raise the leg up like this. Or it may be too weak to hold the pelvis up, and it may sag like that. So it's best to do this exercise the first couple times with someone, a partner or someone who can show you, who can point out to you how you're sagging, how you're lifting, how you're shifting. I'll do it with my patients, and the rest of you will have to find somebody who can tell you how you are cheating or whether you're dead on. And then really feel, when you get aligned, really feel how that feels, internalize that, so that you know when you're lined up and when you're not. It only takes a few times before you really get it dialed in. So you're gonna do it again. Engage, straighten the leg, then raise it up, and I have my patients hold for about 10 seconds, and then reverse it, and then do it again. And do that just repeat that until you feel some fatigue along this side, and then switch and do the other side. Giving yourself a chance to shake off your wrists and your knees if you need to. Get up and walk around a little bit. When you get good at that, you can do that about 10 times on each side with, as they say, pristine form. You're staying level and you're not cheating. Then you want to go to step 2, which is incorporating raising the opposite arm. So what we're doing is we're perturbing the system, we're adding another level of difficulty to it, and we're making the whole core be that much more stable to hold you level and rigid and immovable. So I'll show you. So second level will be sliding the arm out like that. So we're trying to keep the pelvis level, keep the arm straight out, keep the shoulders level. So if I was cheating, I might raise the arm, I might drop, and if I was really unstable, I'd be wobbly like this, and a lot of us will be at first. And as we get stronger, we dial it in, and then we'll be more rock solid. Okay, so only do that after you're really able to perform the leg motion on each side with, like we said, pristine form. Okay, and you're not wobbly. Okay, there's the first one. Okay, the second lumbopelvic core stability exercise that I often teach my patients is called safe sit-ups. And the reason it's called safe sit-ups is because when we've previously been teaching our patients to perform a quote-unquote crunch or a sit-up, what we've often been teaching people to do is to flatten the curve out in the small of their back, push their low back against the floor, and to hold it there the whole time by engaging the abdominals and not letting them rest throughout the performance of the whole crunch, or, well, not a sit-up, but definitely a crunch as we come up. The problem with that is, as we flatten that out, we're putting a heck of a lot of weight onto the discs in the low back. We're transferring the weight, the pressure onto the discs, which is now thought to be very detrimental. So one of the core concepts, pardon the pun, is to maintain the curve in the small of the back while we're performing these exercises. So we're going to find that pelvic neutral position, that neutral low back, and then engage the abdominals on top of it, and then perform an exercise to raise the chest up and down, which will be working the abdominals while maintaining that curve in the small of your back. So I'll demonstrate that. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to have one leg bent with the foot flat on the floor and the other leg straight. And we're going to take our hands and we're going to overlap them behind our back, under the small of our back, in order to maintain that curve. So they're going to be pushing up on the back to elicit a curve and to maintain that curve. So, got my hands one on top of the other, leg straight, leg bent, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tuck my chin, because I don't want to jut my head forward, as sometimes we're prone to doing when we're doing crunches. So I want to keep my chin tucked and my neck and my head in line, stay in line with my chest. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my elbows so that I'm not using my elbows to cheat as I push up. So I'm not going to be pushing at all on my elbows. So bring my elbows up, and now I'm going to engage my abdominal wall, and I'm feeling what's happening in my low back. So I'm making sure that I'm maintaining the curve in the small of my back, even though I'm engaging my abdominals. So my elbows are up, chin tucked, and I'm going to come up. I'm imagining in my mind that my chest is lying on top of a scale, a weight scale, to measure my weight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my torso to unweight that scale. So my abs are tight, still got the curve, off my elbows, and I'm coming straight up. And then I hold that for 5 seconds, come back down, come back up. And I'll repeat that until I feel some fatigue in my abs, and then I'll quit, rest for 30 seconds, do another set. So how I would have cheated if I was going to cheat there without realizing it, typically would be several ways. I would forget to engage my abdominals. I would, when I do engage them, I might still flatten out the curve in the small of my back, even though my hands are there. I might jump my head forward, my chin, or I might push off on my elbows like this, using my arms to push me up. Those would all be ways of cheating. And some people will manage to do a full sit-up with it. They'll come all the way up like this, but that's not what it's about. It's just enough to feel like your chest down to the bottom of your ribcage is unweighting that imaginary scale. So again, it'll look like this. I'm engaging my abs, my elbows up, chin's tucked, and I'll come up, about the bottom of my ribs, hold it for 5 seconds, back down slow, come right back up, and then repeat. Another way you can also do it, since the core, what we're basically looking for with core stability is endurance, not power, and we're also looking for symmetry, an area that's weak on one side, strong on the other, or flexible on one side and inflexible on the other. We want to bring symmetry to the system, and we want to add endurance. So repetitions are one way you could do that with this exercise, and you could also just come up and see how long you can hold it. Hold it for 5 seconds, and then you're getting tired. Great. Then you'll go down and rest, and then do another set. Build up to holding it for 30 seconds, or holding it for a minute. That's another way to build core stability. Okay, that's the second exercise I wanted to go over, and now I'll show you an exercise that I frequently use with patients to build strength and endurance in the back muscles, in the mid and the low back. So the last of the low back and pelvic core stabilizing exercises is this one here, which is an extension exercise to build strength in the low and mid back muscles. And this is taken from, as we can see here, foundation training. And it's a wonderful exercise I want to demonstrate for you. And I have some modifications that I've learned from my genius friend Eileen Rubenstein, a chiropractor in Ashland, Oregon. She made this even better. And so let me demonstrate it for you. So, the first thing we want to do is have our knees spread a little bit like this, and you want your arms, you want to engage your shoulder blades, so you're pinching your shoulder blades together, and then pull your elbows down until you feel your arms sufficiently locked in at your sides. So your shoulder blades are back and pinching between the shoulder blades, and then your arms are down. You want to take your head, and just like that last exercise, you want to tuck your chin so you're looking straight down. You're not extending your head back like this. You're looking straight down. And then you want to press your pubic bone right above your genitalia. Push your pubic bone into the table. Now what that's going to do, if you allow, just try it right now, if you push it in, you're going to be engaging your lower abdominal muscles and your hamstrings. And it's also going to engage some of your abdominal muscles. So, you got your arms back and locked down, chin looking down, press your pubic bone into the table, and then raise your chest as high as you can. Hold it for 5 seconds, come back down, up again, back down, then just repeat. Now, to see the difference that it makes if you push your pubic bone into the table versus not doing that, give it a try and see the difference in the sensation. Typically what people report is that when you're engaging those abdominal muscles by pushing your pubic bone lightly into the table and engaging the lower gluteal muscles and the hamstrings, is that it takes some of the strain off your low back, and it kind of generalizes the strengthening all up and down your back. So it generally feels better. So give that one a try and repeat again, 5 seconds, hold with each repetition, and do it until you feel some fatigue, and then quit for 30 seconds and then do another set. Typically what I have my patients do with the core strengthening exercises is to do them in an ideal world twice a day. Do 2 sets in the morning, 2 sets at night, every other day. Don't do them every day or you'll get weaker, not stronger. Because we typically build strength on the rest day when the body is repairing the muscles from the exercise the previous day. That's where you build strength.